Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. My name is Shay and I talk about Canada immigration here on this channel. Today we're diving into some exciting news, which you might find surprisingly pleasant, especially with the not so good news we have been hearing lately about Canada immigration, particularly the sudden cancellation of the visitor visa to work permit policy. That one ain't Tasha. Well, we are still trying to wrap our heads around that one and see how we can explore other options to Canada. But in the meantime, there are some people in Canada now who are in a more serious situation, and these are the people that this video is for. There are some people in Canada now with expiring work permits, whether it's spousal open work permit or even a temporary foreign worker permit. Usually, when such permits expire, a lot of times, if you have not applied for PR, you might be in a very dicey situation where you might not be able to even sleep at night. And that's why a lot of people try to avoid this situation. Luckily, the government of Canada has provided a way out. Trust me, this is one video you don't want to miss, so stick around till the very end. Let's look at this scenario. There's a lady called Lara. She lives in Toronto. She has been working as a caregiver for the past 2 years, and her work permit is set to expire in just a few weeks. She has been anxiously waiting to hear back about her permanent residency or PR application, but the clock is ticking, and she's not sure if she will hear back or if she'll have to stop working or even to leave the country. This is a situation that many people like Lara are facing across Canada. Now, this is just one scenario. There are many scenarios we can look at, but you get the point. Let's start with a bit of context. Recently, Canada has been focusing on making it easier for temporary residents to transition to permanent residency, especially through the Provincial Nominee Program or the PNP of the different provinces that allows provinces and territories to nominate individuals who are interested in settling in a particular province. Each province in Canada has different of such PNPs for different classes of people, but that is not the subject of today's video. For those of you who are able to apply for the PNPs, there's just one problem. PNP processing times can take time, sometimes up to 2 years, especially when your file is stuck. And if your work permit is about to expire while your PNP application is still in process, you are stuck in no man's land, so to speak. And this is what the new work permit policy is going to address. It's actually a game changer for those of you waiting for your PNP. So Shay, tell us now, what is this good news? Well, I'm going to tell you. The Canadian government has introduced a temporary public policy that allows those with expiring or recently expired work permits to continue working while waiting for their PR application to be processed. Under this new policy, qualified individuals will receive open work permits, allowing them to continue to contribute to the Canadian economy while on their journey towards permanent residency. This policy was introduced on August 11, 2024 and will remain in effect until December 2024, and it's a significant relief for those caught in the backlog of PR applications. But again, it's not for everyone, and the government can revoke it anytime they want. Now, let's talk about who is impacted by this policy. There are 3 main groups of people that are impacted. Number 1 is current work permit holders. If you hold a valid work permit expiring on or before December 31st and you have applied for a new one, plus you have a support letter from your province or territory, you are eligible. This letter should confirm that you have been placed in an expression of interest pool or you are in the province's application inventory for PNP. 2, those that have expired work permits. If your work permit expired after May 7, 2024, but you've applied for a new work permit and you have applied to restore your temporary status, you are eligible. Again, you will need that all-important support letter from your province or territory, as well as a valid job offer letter from your employer. Number 3 is those who have pending work permit extension applications under certain regulations, specifically under paragraph 186U. If you were authorized to work under paragraph 186U of the regulations on May 7, 2024, and your work permit extension application is still pending or was approved, you are eligible for this policy, provided you meet the other criteria like the support letter and the other criteria above. You need to provide a support letter from your provincial or territorial authority indicating your placement in an expression of interest pool or a similar process for the provincial nominee program, along with a letter of employment from your current employer. Let me explain what is under paragraph 186U before you people kill me with questions in the comments. So, if a temporary resident also applies for renewal of their work or study permit before the expiry of their existing permit and their permit expires before a decision is made, paragraph 186U or section R189 authorizes them to work or study without a permit under the same conditions, pending a determination of their application for renewal and only as long as the person remains in Canada. That's what that regulation means. You must have heard me say support letter repeatedly because that support letter is very important. So, what is a support letter? It's a critical document that must be provided with your application. The support letter must be issued by the provincial or territorial authority of the jurisdiction in which you reside. For example, if you are currently living in British Columbia, you will get this support letter from the British Columbia government, which also manages the British Columbia Provincial Nominee Program. The support letter must come from an authority that has signed a letter of intent with RCC setting out its role in supporting facilitation under this public policy. That support letter must also outline that you have been screened by the said provincial or territorial authority. And they must confirm that you have been placed in an expression of interest pool or are in the provincial or territorial authorities application inventory for determining eligibility under the provincial nominee program. You must also show a letter of employment or a job offer from your current employer in addition to the support letter. This letter serves as proof of your current employment status in Canada. Now, let's look at another scenario because I know some of you might still be wondering if this affects you or not. Now, let's look at Steve. Some of you might identify with Lara, some of you might identify with Steve. Now, Steve is a software developer from a country in Africa working in Vancouver. He has been in Canada for 4 years and his work permit is about to expire. And like Lara, Steve has applied for permanent residency, but the processing times are longer than expected due to the current backlog. But thanks to this new policy, Steve doesn't have to worry about losing his job or income. He can continue working under the same conditions as his previous work permit while his PR application is being processed. Now, I know some of you may be wondering, but this sounds like the bridging open work permit. It sounds like it now. What is the difference between this public policy and the bridging open work permit that we had before? I wonder too, but let me break it down for you. The Bridging Open Work Permit, or the BOWP, allows PNP nominees, amongst other economic immigrants, who have applied for permanent residence to secure an open work permit. The biggest difference between the BOWP and this public policy is that under the public policy, the applicant does not need to have applied for permanent residence. They only need to have received a provincial letter of support from their province. A letter of support and a PNP nomination are both related to the provincial nominee program in Canada, but they serve different purposes and they are issued at different stages of the process. A PNP nomination is an official endorsement from a Canadian province or territory indicating that the province or territory supports an application for permanent residence based on an applicant's intention to settle there and contribute to the local economy. I know it's a bit technical, but I trust you get it. Now, if you're watching without subscribing and you like content like this, would you mind just subscribing to the channel and as well as liking the video, because it helps the channel continue to grow and it gives me the chance to continue to make these analytical videos for you. It helps me, so thank you. So, if you are one of those in the group of people who qualify, your question is, what should you do next? This is a step-by-step guide of what I think you can do next. One, check your eligibility. Make sure you meet the conditions I just outlined. Do you have a valid or recently expired work permit? Have you applied for a new one? Do you have that crucial support letter from your province? Two, gather your documents. If you meet the requirements, you will need to submit an application for a new work permit and possibly an extension of your temporary resident status. Make sure to include your support letter and a letter of employment from your current employer. Three, submit your application. Once you've got everything together, submit your application under Section 200 of the Immigration and Refugee Protection Regulations. If your work permit has already expired, don't forget to apply for restoration of your status under Section 182. 4. Wait for your open work permit. If everything is okay and checks out, you'll be granted an open work permit. This means that you can continue working in Canada while your PNP application is being processed. It's a huge relief, right? I must stress again that if you don't have a support letter from your province, or if your work permit expired before May 7th without applying for a new one, this policy won't apply to you. And if you're currently not in the PNP process, this might not be the solution for you either. You must qualify under the conditions that I have mentioned above. Truly, this policy is a big win for those who are caught in the limbo between an expiring work permit and a pending PNP application. It gives you a clear pathway to keep working in Canada while you wait for that golden ticket, your permanent residency. If you think you're eligible, don't waste any time. Get your documents in order and apply today. So, while I started this video, I talked about the cancellation of the visit visa to work permit policy that happened recently in Canada. And if you want to know more about that policy and see whether it affects you and what you can do if it does, please watch the video here. It is very detailed and will guide you. If you have any questions or you need help navigating this process, just leave a comment below or reach out to me directly. My consultation link will be on the screen. I am here to help. Thanks for watching, guys. Thank you for subscribing. Thank you for liking, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.